At Josh Eisenberg 4 here. Welcome back to Chair Shot Reality on WrestleZone.com. And it is now time for me to talk about the Royal Rumble match. I'm going to give you a couple of predictions, maybe this will happen, maybe that will happen, but none of us are really sure because there could be so many winners. There could be Brock Lesnar. I know, LeBar, you do it better. There could be Bill Goldberg making his return to the Royal Rumble match in over a decade. There could be The Undertaker. Rumors are running rampant that he's going to get one more championship run. And what about guys like Finn Balor, who hasn't been seen since his injury, since his huge push as the first ever Universal Champion at SummerSlam, a mere month after his debut on WWE Monday Night Raw. All of these guys could be options. They are strong options. And also you have Samoa Joe, which, if you didn't hear from me in part 1, could be interfering in a championship match instead of making his debut at the Rumble. But if anything, here are a couple of predictions. Number 10 is going to be Ty. He's going to be number 10. You can mark that. Also, you will see Seth Rollins somehow involved in this match. I could potentially see him interfere, costing Triple H a Royal Rumble win. So look for Seth Rollins and Triple H to be a big part of this. You're going to see Braun Strowman dominate. I think Strowman eliminates 8 to 12 guys. You're going to see Brock Lesnar and Goldberg go face-to-face again with The Undertaker right in the middle. These three behemoths are going to do a great moment in San Antonio because that's what people want to see. But when you put it all together, who is going to be the champion? Well, I think it's going to be Kevin Owens. And who's going to win the Royal Rumble? Well, I think it's Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is going to somehow, someway find a victory and become the winner of the 2017 Royal Rumble. Well, I'm going to send it back in studio where I know, LeBar, you think, well, I'm not sure what you think, but can you get in and can you drink it in, man?
Well, Eisenberg, I have to agree with you. I have to agree. The minds thinking alike. Thank you, Josh Eisenberg. Back here in studio in Point Park University, downtown Pittsburgh, myself and Juicy Steen. Juice, I got to agree with Josh. I'm saying Chris Jericho. You know, I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was like, all right, well, let me wait until I may have to make my final prediction the week of. I said it on my audio podcast. My Wrestling Reality audio podcast is now back weekly. You can go to iTunes or anywhere and just search Wrestling Reality.
That's where I got started.
I talked about it. That's where you did.
On your podcast.
And I'm sticking with it. Final call right now, unless... No, I'm not even going to change it in San Antonio. I'm sticking with it right now. I'm flying to San Antonio, and I'm taking Chris Jericho with me.
We'll see what you tweet as time goes on during the day. You're like, I don't know.
I'm right now. I'm sticking with Chris Jericho. I think it makes a lot of sense. Jericho's never won it, so he adds it to the resume. Obviously, the dynamic, assuming that Kevin Owens holds on to the title, you're flashed with all of these marquee guys, with the Goldbergs and the Lesnars and the Undertakers and the rumors of a Finn Balor, the rumors of a Samoa Joe, all this stuff. Jericho would slide right in there under the radar. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think all those other big names that kind of cancel each other out, really.
I think it does too. I want to agree with you, but at the same time, I think he can face Owens and not have to win the match. So I would lean more towards a SmackDown guy. I'm not throwing Baron Corbin's name fully out there 100%.
Well, if it's going to be Jericho and Owens at WrestleMania, if they're going to face each other without Jericho winning the Rumble, that means Owens is going to lose his title. I don't see them having this title. The only way to make this beautiful title match is for Jericho to win the Rumble, and it's Owens is like, okay, buddy, you're going to do the right thing, and of course we all know how that goes.
So maybe, yeah, on that side I think so too, but I've seen some reports that maybe Randy Orton might sneak in there and win it and have Wyatt win the belt at Chamber on the SmackDown side of things, so maybe that, because we haven't really seen the full-blown rift and split.
You know, I got to say this, if I've enjoyed the Randy Orton stuff with the Wyatts, and it's gone longer than we thought, but it's been enjoyable. And I like Randy Orton. I always praise him and say he's like if you build from scratch, he's the perfect pro wrestler / sports entertainer. But if in this Rumble, with all that's there, if Randy Orton's the guy that wins the Royal Rumble, I think they are setting themselves up for another trend, one more year. They did it here in Pittsburgh. They did it in Philly.
And he's going back to Philly next year.
Rumble's had a nasty trend of leaving the crowd pissed off, pissed on, throwing objects. If Randy Orton is the guy out of all this, they decide. Given the if he's the guy that you go for, WWE, I have nothing against Randy, but if Randy Orton's the guy that you guys let win the Royal Rumble, you got 50,000 Texans, 50,000 Texans at that Alamo Dome that are going to be very unhappy. You better just unhappy.
And see, when you keep bringing all
these
things
up. Don't mess with
up,
Texas.
You keep bringing these things up, and it's just it screams Jericho then, because at the same time as Jericho being. Like everybody not wanting him to go against Owens and it be a thing for the fans. The fans are going to love if Chris Jericho would win the Rumble. It would be a great thing. Because I think, to your point, although you're always saying it, I think it would be a little bit of a surprise for him to win it because no one's really talking about it.
Right.
So
it still would be a surprise.
Yes, and I think the crowd, he's been so over even as a heel at this juncture. I think that the crowd would be mega over with it. And
especially if Jericho, if the final other 2 or 3 people that he's in the ring with are obviously big name guys, it's like, if the final 4 finishes with, Jericho, Goldberg, Lesnar, Undertaker, out of those 4, you're like, Jericho's not winning this.
You see,
commonly,
and he can luck into it because
right.
it could be one of those things like when Flair won it in '92. You have Taker get out some way.
Somebody's pulling,
and then when it's down to Lesnar,
yeah.
Goldberg, and him and Jericho, and Lesnar and Goldberg cancel each other out, and Jericho just sneaks there and flips Goldberg out, which would be hilarious because considering their WCW.
I said this on the podcast, and if you didn't hear it, I want to reiterate right now. Here's a scenario that I want to see. Stepping away from who's winning, I want to see the scenario. Book the scenario, please. Let Brock Lesnar, out of Brock and Goldberg, let Brock be the one that's in the ring first. Let Brock be in that ring. Let Brock clear some people out. Let the Goldberg music hit, and please bring out Gilbert. Bring out Gilbert. Let Brock toss Gilbert aside, and then the Goldberg music hits again, and then we got the real deal. I want to see that spot. You're gonna
have that. They're gonna take one spot away from someone to put in Gilbert.
Yes.
just for that reason.
James Ellsworth's gonna take a spot too.
Well, Ellsworth can be the guy. He doesn't have to be a direct
you need
Gilbert.
Dwayne Gill, Maryland's own Dwayne Gill.
If it happens, we heard it here. Put it in
the
your Wrestle Rumble pick somehow.
I'm putting it in my Wrestle Rumble pick.
Random entrant Gilbert.
I'm putting Gilbert in the Wrestle Rumble. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting Gilbert down in the Wrestle Rumble. I'm putting The Rock to win. I'll slam Wrestle Rumble.
The Rock to win.
Rock.
Oh,
and then Roman Reigns can take the title from Kevin Owens. Will be,
The Rock versus Roman.
That's what's gonna send me to the promised land. That's what's gonna help me win.
You might want to start drinking earlier on Sunday.
How much earlier can I drink? It's like a 7-hour event.
WrestleMania was 7 hours, and now Royal Rumble 7 hours. WrestleMania will be 8 or 9.
2 to 4 local time in San Antonio. I'll be at On the Rocks Pub. Again, $3 Shiner Bock beers, $4 Tito's vodka.
You're gonna end up
We're
owning
be filming
the bar.
some social media video. I'm gonna be what?
Like owning the bar by the time. Like you'll be spending so much money there. It'll be yours.
The La Bar.
The La Bar.
The La Bar.
La Bar.
There you go. All right, make your final call. Who's winning? Enough dancing around.
You
turn the hat around, sit up straight, young Jucifer, and tell me who is winning.
You've swerved me.
Sit up straight.
You've swerved me, and I'm gonna have to go with Chris Jericho.
No, you
convinced me.
Eisenberg,
You convinced me.
I did.
You convinced me. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it were a Baron Corbin out of nowhere or Randy Orton, legitimately out of nowhere. But Chris Jericho, I totally think, like, all the points are there. I don't see why not.
The power of persuasion.
I think the best thing is we don't really know. This is one of the ones, like, finally, after a few years now, of really us going, it's going to be Roman, whatever.
That's what I mean.
It's so unpredictable.
There's so many.
The fact that there's 2 titles, it might piss people off that there's so many pay-per-views, whatever. This is a lot of unpredictability now.
That's why I say there's so much potential and unpredictability that if Randy Orton's the guy that won it, that's just. Think about this. I just did my 16th most significant moments I thought shaped Royal Rumble. I did it on Upgroove. You can check it out. And one of them I talk about I think the best Royal Rumble ever is 1992. That 1992 Royal Rumble had 16 future Hall of Famers. Really 17 because the Undertaker's not yet in the Hall of Fame, but he's obviously a surefire guy when he does retire. Granted, at the time, he didn't know that all those people were going to want to be the Hall of Fame. But looking in the historical context, this Rumble might be the most star-studded Rumble since then.
And if
you look at
it has any of the flavor that '92 did, then it's going to be amazing. And I think the other thing is maybe if there's someone you can pick that's like that we didn't choose, it could be someone we didn't even talk about. We could just win it.
Braun Strowman's the only guy we haven't talked about.
Maybe
Strowman's the only guy that we have not spoke on this segment that I think is a realistic option here.
I don't know. Again, unpredictability at the Royal Rumble is what they always push, and finally, I think it's gotten to that peak where it hasn't
Finn Balor going to show up?
Show up, maybe.
I mean, is he in the Rumble?
I don't know if he's in the Rumble, because I don't know.
You're not going to see him if he's in the Rumble.
Well, he could show up and just I don't know. Okay, all right.
What is he going to?
Then no. I don't think he's in the Rumble.
The light's going to flicker and distract the Undertaker, and he.
Yeah, there you go. You're booking it right there. There you go. Your final pick's Jericho?
Jericho's my final pick.
All right.
So all 3 of us, Josh, me, and you.
So what about?
That's scary.
Is Samoa Joe?
World's ending.
Is Samoa Joe in there?
Yes, he's in the Rumble.
Kenny Omega's not in the Rumble though. Not in the Rumble. Nope. Just silence that right now.
Silence it. No Kenny Omega. No Kenny Omega. Nope.
Not this year.
Not this year. No, Kenny. I'm sticking with it. All right.
Okay.
Jericho. Around the corner we go. Join us in San Antonio. Make sure you follow along on social media. It shall be the most interesting weekend. At least the most interesting one in quite a while, and the most interesting one until WrestleMania comes. Follow at Juicy Steen, at Josh Eisenberg 4, at Justin LeVar. If we're breathing, we're alive. We'll see you next week.